Most of us can remember one teacher who made a difference in our lives, someone who showed a passion for teaching and for the subject taught. Commentator Carol Fenley recalls one such teacher whose reach went far beyond the classroom.
The psychologist B.F. Skinner once said, "Education is what survives when what has been learned has been forgotten." With that definition, Robert Hoderny, who taught social justice at Archbishop Carroll High School, was the truest of educators. Robert was one of those teachers students never forget. I knew him for 2 decades, spoke to his classes, and my own son was taught by him. He was a gifted teacher who died far too early in a tragic accident. At a time when the quality of education of young people in the district and elsewhere is taking a nosedive, I can't imagine a greater tragedy for teaching. During the school year, Robert's students studied a host of issues current to the day: homelessness, handgun control, war and peace, and so on. Each Saturday, Robert's students staffed the Zacchaeus Soup Kitchen. It was a requirement to pass his class. Once I was rushing with homeless activist Mitch Snyder to catch a plane at National Airport. A young man stopped us and said, "Excuse me, Mr. Snyder, I learned about you in school. You see, I was in Mr. Hoderny's class." He found as much amazement in his students as he did in his subject matter. My son came rushing in after school one day waving a Snickers bar. He told me he had gotten a woof from Hoderny. I looked confused. He explained that whenever someone said something inspiring or profound in class, Robert gave an excited woof and presented a candy bar, which he kept loaded up in a drawer for just such occasions. I think that was the high point of my son's entire academic career. Robert demanded and usually got the most from his students. His teaching techniques were unconventional and brilliant. His passion for peace and justice, but more importantly, his passion for teaching, drove his classroom. I remember one time when his students hadn't done their homework and he was in a fury. He announced to them that if they didn't care enough about the class to do their work, neither did he, and stormed out of the room. The students sat there for a while amazed, too shocked to even speak. Then, one by one, they dragged out their books and began to do the neglected work. I learned about Robert's death at a family function. Someone unfamiliar with him wanted to know who we were discussing. My son replied, "One of my teachers." He paused, then quietly added, "No, one of my friends." That was the thing about Robert Hoderny. He was always a teacher, but he loved his students so absolutely that they also knew he could be counted on to be their friend.
I've been here so many years now that I began to worry that it would all become routine, that the Carroll pride I feel would start to fade. But every September, the fire starts up again. Classes begin. New faces walk into the building and into your life. A fence goes up, and the story continues. There's just so much life in this building, so many people reaching out to you and helping you, smiling at you every day. It's impossible not to love this place. But I suppose what I love most of all is the simple innocence and goodness of the students who make up this school. They do their homework day in and day out. They come to the games. They wear ribbons in their hair for the parade. They cheer at the pep rallies. They smile at you in the hallway. They share food with you in the cafeteria. They'll walk the walk, and they'll bring in food for the food drive. They enrich your life just by being here at Carroll. And I guess that's why after all these years I can still say, I got that feeling. It's deep inside. I got that feeling, that Carroll pride.